Yes, Prabhu.
Hello. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त कान्त नमस्ते तप्त कांचन वृंदावनेश्वरी विश्वभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवाचार्य गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम राम। So yesterday we discussed the most important sloka. Which one? Abrutam jnanameteन ज्ञानिनो नित्यवैरिणा कामरूपिण कौन्तेय दुष्प्रेरणा नलेन च. I'm just recapping it. Abrutam jnanameteन. So the knowledge is covered by the lust. Abrutam jnanameteन jnanino nityavairinā. That's why the lust is the eternal enemy for the knowledgeous person, even for the realized person also. Because in the latter verse, in the coming verse, you will see lust is destroying even the jnana and vijnana both. Jnana means the knowledge of the scriptures, and vijnana means the realized knowledge of the soul. So lust is so powerful that it can even destroy the knowledge of the scriptures and also the realized knowledge. That's why it is eternal enemy. Kama rupena kaunteya duspirena nalena. And this lust comes in various forms. Sometimes it comes in the form of anger. Sometimes it comes in the forms of greed. All the other five enemies, just like anger, greed, envy, all these enemies are nothing but the expansion of the lust. So lust is the root cause of our all contamination or all suffering. So duspirena nalena, and this it is just like fire. So knowledge is also fire, but it burns the material contamination. If the knowledge dawns in our consciousness, then it burns our all material contamination and it cuts up the bondage, material bondage. But if that fire is contaminated by lust, then it becomes Kamagni. And Kamagni has also the power to even burn both jnana and vijnana. It is all devouring, that it devours everything, it destroys everything. So you can see in history also there are many cases that those who are aspiring for self-realization and the seekers of the truth, they came across such kind of dangerous enemy called lust and got deviated. So this actually teaches us how to be careful of the lust and how to conquer lust. And why Krishna is discussing all this topic, because Arjuna asked in previous verses, even though an individual is not interested in or not willing to do any sinful activities, still something is more powerful within our heart or within our being that forces us to commit what? Sin. Even though reluctantly, even though we don't want to commit sin, still something is there that commits us, that hold our neck and make us do that sinful activities. So what is that thing? Is it the Supreme Soul? It is the Super Soul. Is it our sanskaras? Is the past impressions? So Krishna says it is neither the Super Soul nor the past sanskaras, but it is the lust that makes us do such kind of what? Sinful activities. And it is our eternal enemy. Up to this only we discussed. So next verse what? 3.40. Indriyani manar buddhi rasyadhisthana mujjate eter bhimo hayetisya jnanam abrutya dehinam. So these are the three seats. So next Arjuna, Krishna explains that which are the sitting place of the lust, up to where the territory is spread all over, up to which the territory of the lust belong to. So Krishna is saying both the senses, mind and intelligence are under the control of lust. These are the three sitting places of lust. Not even intelligence. It also conquers the false ego. And false ego is situated in the consciousness, in our consciousness. And consciousness is the symptom of the soul. The lust is so deep rooted to the core of the soul, that is consciousness, the symptom of the soul. Up to it, it has been pervaded. The whole consciousness has been contaminated by the thoughtful lust. That's why it is very difficult to conquer. If the senses are under the control of the lust, it can be easily conquered by the mind. But the mind is under the control of the lust, it can be easily conquered by knowledge, by reading the scriptures. But if the intelligence is conquered by the lust, then who will, the third person, will make him understand or make him keep him in the right path? Who will show me in the right path? Suppose one body, if body is dirty, then you can take a bath and make yourself clean. But the mind is dirty, the mind is contaminated. It can be cleansed by the knowledge of the scriptures, by sharpening our intelligence or the sharp intellect. With the help of the sharp intellect, we can direct the mind, instruct the mind, check the mind, train the mind so that it can take the right path and conquer the lust. And knowing that it is the greatest enemy. And we can divert it into service in the serving of the Lord. We can divert the direction of the senses or the mind by engaging it in devotional service. Well, who will engage it? Intelligence will engage the mind in the devotional service of the Lord, and senses will be engaged. But if the intelligence is contaminated by the lust, then who is the person who will guide the mind? Who will teach the intelligence? There is nothing. There is not a. There is nobody to teach the intelligence. So what to do? And not even that. Even intelligence is situated in false ego. because it is contaminated. False ego means at that time it is even so deep rooted, the lust is so deep rooted that it covers our constitutional position and imposes on the false identity and thinks himself to be the what? Thinks himself to be uh, the body. He thinks that the body, he thinks himself to be the body, not the soul. That is called the Atma Buddhi. So the lost, makes us forgetful our own constitutional position. So the intelligence is situated in the false ego, and false ego is situated in consciousness. So it's so deep rooted, you can see. So it is so subtle, and subtle of the subtlest. Every living in this three world is suffering from this lost. That's what it is called enemy. And all our world and all our everything is revolves around this lust only. Whatever you do, all these activities centered on to satisfy the lust. That's why it's called the Maya is nothing but Kamini and Kanchan. So deep rooted. Here, Krishna is only mentioning three seeds, that is senses, mind, and intelligence. These are the three seeds for the last enthroned himself. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Cheto Darpana Marjan. From the very consciousness, you have to start your cleansing process by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. There is no other process to cleanse the consciousness. Because consciousness has been contaminated, then we are thinking ourselves, I am the body, my name is Anka, and I am Indian, and I am American, I am black, I am white, I am this, I am man and woman. These are the false identification. These are the false imposition you are imposing on us. Because our ego has been, uh, falsely identified with the body. And who is responsible for that? This propensity for sense gratification. That is the lust. So when the senses and the sense objects, senses are very prone to, enjoy the sense object. Very easily they are attracted and, get entangled into the sense object, senses. And senses actually give information to the mind. Actually, I want to do this, whether it is painful or, pleasurable thing. Both are there in this world. Something, the mind or the senses, they detects that this is very pleasurable. Doesn't mean that whether it is priya or shreya. Not in terms of which is very good for me or which is very enjoyable for me. Every enjoyable thing is not, not what you can say, not prayer. Prayer means that suitable for our own, on spiritual growth. Just like wine or any kind of sense gratificatory objects that may harm for our health also. If we will take wine, it is very harmful for our health. But a drunkard, it is very, very good thing for him. It enjoys it. So he is engaged. He engaged his senses and mind in gratifying that wine. So while coming in contact with the sense object, the senses give the information whether it is pleasurable, whether it is enjoyable, or it is very painful. Two kinds of experience after experiencing. He gives the information to the mind, and mind decides according to the three gunas. If it is affected by raga, rajagun, then he will immediately comes into action. Tamagun means he will choose certain things which is very what you can say, opposite things. Opposite things means stale, waste, and pramad and lazy. These are the two characteristics of the tamogun, and which is very what you can say, spiritually uplifting. He will negate it, and which is you know, which degrades our consciousness, he will just opt it. He will just go for it at once. Tamoguna. Tamoguni persons uh, thinks dharma to be adharma and adharma to be dharma. Right, he considered right thing to be wrong and wrong thing to be right. So according to that, the mind decides. And mind is under control the buddhi. Buddhi also contaminated by the three guna. So that's why Prabhupada says one has to uplift his consciousness up to where Satoguna. Then only he can take the help of the Shastra, Sadhu Guru and Shastra, and direct the mind and engage his senses in devotional service. Then one can have the hope of conquering lust. It's a chant. It's a what is it? It's a very complicated situation. You have to understand in detail way so that you can be very vigil and careful and dealing with our senses and sense object. Otherwise, daily we are chanting 60 around and engaging ourselves in devotional service. It's a mechanical process only without knowing the mechanism of controlling the mind and senses. Just it's a mechanical process, but still it works because it starts from the very bottom level, ground level. What is it? That is our very root of he actually uproot the root cause of lust, that is cleansing of our consciousness from where the lust has spread all over up to where it has been spread, that is contaminated our consciousness. Let's see the purport, what Prabhupada says. What Indriyani mano, Indriya means senses, mind and buddhi, adhisthana uchyate. These are the three seats of lust. Eter vimuhitasya jnanam abruta dehinam. And through them lust covers the real knowledge. These are the agents through which the lust actually covers the real knowledge, our constitutional position of the living entity, and bewilders him. Then the illusion starts. Illusion means what? What is unreal seems to be real. What is temporary seems to be permanent for us. That is illusion. Because you are prone to happiness, and so-called happiness seem to be very pleasurable for us. So-called happiness that we enjoy, and we think that it is the sanam and banam of life. That is illusion. Because our Dehatma Bodhi runs after that and accumulates and waste our all time in protecting it. Because we think that this is the only thing we have to do in our life. Eating, sleeping, merrymaking, and different things, just like animals and nothing else. Because for Dehatma Buddhi, we set our goal. This is our goal. Because our mind, intelligence, and senses and the consciousness is contaminated by the lust. He is controlling everything else. So we need to chant more. This is the only process. Otherwise there is no hope. What people say in the this purport you see. Now the three sitting places of lust: senses, mind, and intelligence. In the purport, what is it? What are the repositories of lust? Mind and the senses. Actually, Krishna says that in other verses, next verses, that you begin your process from controlling the senses, because senses are gross thing. You can see your eyes, you can see your nose. These are gross things. You can stop or instruct, or suppose one beautiful form is just before you. You can just turn your head away from that. Don't look at that. There are many things that that has been taught in Brahmacharya Ashram, how to deal with such kind of practical situations. So they instruct us never to Now to see a woman face to face or never contact your eyes with an woman. Because everything starts from eye contact. Then everything starts. From there it starts. So it has been described in the Bhagavatam also. We have actually discussed in our sessions that lost bonds and love blossoms. That's a topic we discussed. How lust conquers and how it turns into a devastating situation in relationships. Where if the lust is centered in the relationship, it actually bonds both. Relationship is ruined and spiritual career also ruined. So as we have to live a family life and uh, we need a balanced life both uh, to have a Krishna conscious family. So we need to deal with such kind of things so that our spiritual life will go on very smoothly. If lust is the center, what are the symptoms and how it works? It's a very uh, complicated subject matter. You need to understand it. How step by step it conquers our heart and how it ruins our spiritual career. So senses are the gross thing that which you can control it, and from the preliminary stage how to train it. Suppose we have also discussed in previous verses. Suppose Tom is always hankering for eating palatable dishes, so better to wait for it. You need to supply the demands of the mind because you cannot at once you can stop the demands. Otherwise, it will reveal and just have a disaster effect on our sadhana and everything else. But you have to in a regulative way. Start controlling the senses and mind in a regulative way. Mm. Give the term palatable dishes before and after offering to the Lord. And so, as the core regulative principle Prabhupada has instructed us to follow, that to a lot extents, a large extent, it actually helps us in controlling the senses and the mind. If you want to hear only melodious music that is sung by devotees, Hare Krishna Mahamantra, engage your eyes in beholding the beautiful form of the Lord and smell the fragrance of flowers that is offered at the lotus feet of the Lord. Take prasadam to your neck also, but take prasadam only, not from the pizza, burger, from out of the fast food items, junk food items. It actually spoils our consciousness because food is nothing but the food of mind. The type of food you take, that type of consciousness that you build up, according to that thought process goes on, and according to that it practicalize or literalize in the action, reflects in our action. So food is the most important thing we have to take care of. So these are the little things or practical things how to engage our senses in Krishna conscious activities that Rupaji has given us this process. So by utilizing it, we can easily control our senses. And whatever the yogis and jnani, what they do, they adamantly and forcibly they restrain their senses, but after some time it rebels in such a way, just like Vishwamitra and all. So Prabhupada say that engage the senses with a regulative way. Give the supply demands, but in a regulative way. But gradually we have to minimize the supply, and 24 hours you have to engage your senses in Krishna conscious activities so that one day it become fully cleansed and fully Krishna conscious. That is the only way. But at once you cannot uplift your consciousness up to that PhD level or samadhi. A gradual process. It's a gradual process, and you can enjoy it also. So that's why reading the scripture and hearing the most important thing. These are the spiritual food for the mind. And the material food, we are always supplying the material food to the mind. Always, from the WhatsApp, from the multimedia and YouTube and everything else. All these healthy things are just filling up in our mind. And it will just comes out in our actions. Again, it binds us in material activities. It aggravates our material bondage. So the more we supply the spiritual food to the mind, the more we are safe and more we are coming closer to Krishna. That is the thing here. And intelligence is the capital and next door neighbor of soul. So intelligence is very near to this. And intelligence is guided by the false ego, and false ego is situated in the consciousness. That's what we said. So consciousness can be cleansed by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So false identification, that's manifest in various ways. Identifying the body made of three elements with one own self. What are the three elements? Considering by the byproduct of the body to be his kinsman, my brother, my sister, my wife, my children. And my identifier also gets changed. What is it? I am a father, I am a brother, I am a son, I am a husband. So these are the identification, multifarious identification or identities we are, imposing upon us. So it makes our life very complicated. But that is not our real identity. Our real identity is the part and parcel of Krishna. The more we identify with the real identity will be remain in blissful state. So considering the land of birth or worshipable, just like patriotism, it's a false identification actually. It's a false aspiration, you can say. It's a material goal it will lead to nowhere else. That's why Prabhupada negate that or left that movement. Initially, he was a part of freedom movement, national freedom movement with Gandhi. But when he met his Guru Maharaj and got to know what is the goal of life, immediately left and joined his Guru Maharaj. And after that, after 70 years, he embarked on Jaladuta and went to America. That's a journey, spiritual journey. That's everybody has to take it seriously. Considering the land of birth worshipable and Indian, American, South African, these are false identification, bodily identification. Goes to place of pilgrim simply to take bath rather than meet man of transcendental knowledge. So there is a verse of Bhagavatam where it says that people go to even holy places to take a bath or take a dip in the holy river, but they are just cleansing their body. So it says that taking a dip in holy Ganga cleans are all sinful reaction. It's quite true. But it has been said by the sadhu that before going into the holy river, Ganga, entering into the river, all the sins actually they take the shelter of the tree nearby. But at once you come out of the river, they again jumped up in our consciousness, enters into the consciousness. The meaning is that the propensity for sinful reaction, for sinful activity, that never dies. Though it is true that after taking a holy dip in the holy Ganga, holy dip in the river Ganga, all our sinful reaction gets destroyed. It's true. But the propensity to commit sinful reaction, it never dies. It can, because it has been deep rooted in our consciousness. So it can only be destroyed. Why? Holy name. Why holy name and nothing else? Because it is the holy name actually cleans our consciousness. Then only the propensity to commit what? Sinful activities, that goes for him. So only taking a deep in holy river is not sufficient. Our goal is to cleanse the consciousness. That's why there are two things, sadhu sangha and harinam. तुम्हारे दर्शन हुए पवित्र हो. So after having a darshan of a pure soul like Prabhupada, it can even kill or change or that propensity. It kills the propensity of committing sinful activities. That propensity is not destroyed. The habit of the sanskaras, that gets destroyed. the habit of doing sinful activities, that is changed into spiritual habit. Complete transformation happens after coming in contact with a pure soul or a pure devotee, just like Prabhupada. And it happens in his case also. Many hippies become happy after coming in contact with a pure devotee. That's the result of taking the association of pure devotee. That has been said here. Next. Tasmat tvamindriyanadyo niyamya bharatardha panam prajayenam jnana vijnananashanam. So step by step Krishna is saying how lust is very dangerous. Tasmat, therefore, Arjuna, tasmat, tasmattam, you, tasmattam indriyani ado. From the very beginning, you have to control your senses. You start this process of controlling or cleansing process from the very beginning. How by controlling your senses, because this is gross. That's what we discussed now. Pampanam prajahi yenam. And in the very beginning, curb this great symbol of sin by regulating the senses, slay the destroyer of knowledge. Pampanam prajayenam jnana vijnana nasam. Because it destroys both jnana and vijnana. Who? This lust. Regulate the senses. Since the senses are the weakest, they are the easiest to begin conquering. These are the weakest. You can you might have heard that Shankaracharya gave one in his Vivek Chudamani. It's a very good book, good work actually. Gem. Vivek Chudamani. In this, he describes how an elephant is cut off because of his weakness. A gigantic elephant is cut off in the net because of his weakness. Weakness of what? Weakness toward the sea elephant. Weakness toward the sea elephant. His senses of the skin are touch. His senses, one of the senses, that is skin or touch. That is what is it? Panchatan matra. Panchatan matra. Rasa, Spadha, Sabdha, फिर but Pranam, Rasa, Sadi, Gandha, Rasa, Sabda, Rupa, and Sparsha. These are the 5 tanmatras. And this 5 tanmatra has connection with the 5 Jnanendriya. So if the one Jnanendriya is weak because of the weakness of one Jnanendriya, all these animals are in the trap, just like elephant. Actually, after getting infatuated with the sea elephant, actually they rub the skin with each other, and because of that, that impression is stored in the mind of the elephant. That's why he gets in trap, and actually he comes in the trouble. And the deer ears, actually it sounds the musical sound of the flute, and he was so transfixed and so attentive in hearing that sound, that he is so careless and oblivious to the environment. The hunter is aiming at it. He's so oblivious, he's so careless, he's not so vigilant. At that time only, the hunter first blew his flute and he attracts the attention of the deer. And as the deer has the weakness towards this musical sound of the flute, it keeps on hearing and gets in trap. Actually, she is killed. The deer is killed because of the weakness of this one of the indriyas. So like this, there are 5 instances who gives, Shankaracharya gives, and all the animals are in the trap or in danger or they kill themselves because of the weakness of one indriya. And we have five indriyas, and all five are wicked and very, very weak anyway. Very weak indriyas. They are the weakest of all. All are just like that. Our eyes are not under control, our ears are not under control, our tongue are not under control. All these indriyas are weak. So how to control it? If one indriya, because of one indriya, all these animals, this is the instances given in the Shastra, that is so troublesome. And what will happen to us? All these five indriyas are weak and prone to sense gratification, or running after the senses, sense object, without considering the consequences, what will happen. So what will happen to us? So therefore, destroy lost in senses by following religious regulations. According to Shastra, don'ts and don'ts. We have to follow it. So in the what is given in Nectar of Instructions, Pragya Mataji will recite one verse that actually that is very harmful. If you follow that, it actually degrades our consciousness, and these are the obstacles in our devotional service. Pragya Mata is reading that Nectar of Instructions. Now she will recite and make you know. Pragya Mataji, recite one that verse. What is that verse? There is six obstacles in our devotional service. Recite.
प्रभुजी अत्याहार प्रभुजी अत्याहार प्रयासश्च प्रजल्पो नियमाग्रह जनसंगश्च लौल्यं च षड्भिर्भक्तिर्विनश्यति.
Vinasati, atyahar. Atyahar means accumulation, over accumulation, that is also atyahar. More than our capacity, taking prasadam up to our neck, that is also atyahar. So atyahar means, listening more and from other resources, that is also atyahar. Newspaper reading, that is also atyahar. And gossiping, atyahara prayasasya. Prayasasya, over endeavoring in accumulating things. Atyahara prayasasya prajalpa, gossiping, all these material on subject matter. Gossiping on all material subject matter. That is gossip. That is atyahara prayasasya prajalpa niyamagraha. Niyamagraha means what? Niyama agraha. That's actually following the rules and regulations for the sake of following it, mechanical. And niyama agraha. Agraha means following the rules and regulations for the sake of it. Niyama agraha means they do against the scripture. Just like that. Pragya Mataji, what is it? Niyama agraha. Niyama agraha and niyama agraha, both are there.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So
practicing rules and regulations. Yes,
practicing
yes.
rules and regulations
only for the sake of following them.
So this is mechanical, without any.
And not
agraha,
for the sake of spiritual advancement.
the sake of spiritual. Niyama agraha. That is actually beneficial. But here niyama agraha. And lolyam means very greedy for material, sense gratification. Greed, lolyam. It should be spiritualized. And what is it? Another one, lolyam. Janasangasya. Janasanga means taking the wrong association, material association. So these are the principles it is given in the Shastra. That these are the don'ts. And do's is what? Do's what? The 6 principles. If you follow it, then you can improve in our sadhana, spiritual life. What are the six things mentioned in the Nectar of Instructions? Say.
Prabhuji, should I say?
Say.
उत्साह निश्चयात् धैर्यात् तत् कर्म प्रवर्तनात् संग त्यागत सतो वृत्ति
बोलते
षड्भिर्भक्ति प्रसिद्ध्यति.
प्रसिद्ध उत्साह निश्चय धैर्य, these are the characteristics. Utsaha means to be enthusiastic and performing devotion also. Utsaha nischay, the determination. So determined spirit, you have to follow it. Utsaha nischay dharya, with passion also. You don't think that overnight you will be successful. No, it will take time because thousands of unearths are there in our heart. Utsaha nischay dharya tat karma pravartana. What is it, tat karma pravartana? You have to follow in the footsteps of previous acharyas, tat karma pravartana, and what another one is
संग त्यागत सतो वृत्ति.
Satabrutti is, I think Satabrutti is following the footsteps of previous Acharya. Tat karma pravartana is what to say? Tat karma pravartana is what? Satabrutti means
Acting according to regulative principles.
Huh? What is it? Say.
Prabhuji, acting according to regulative principles.
Is it? Is it so? Huh? Tat karma pravartana. What is it?
Following the great acharyas. Yes.
And Satabruti is
Following
what?
the footsteps of great acharyas.
And Satabruti?
Previous acharyas. Satovritti means previous acharyas. Following the footsteps of previous acharyas.
And tat karma pravartana? Following the regulative principle.
Activities which are favorable for devotional service.
Favorable for devotional service. These are the doors. So accepting the principle that is favorable for bhakti. These are the 6 principles for our devotional service, to develop our devotional service, improve our devotional service, improve our spiritual life. And the 6 things that we should be keep ourselves from. So do's and don'ts you have to. That is what? What is it? So this is religious regulation, rules and regulation. By following that rules and regulation, we make the senses and the mind and intelligence. Lust as destroyer of jnana and vigyan. It destroys our knowledge and both our realized knowledge also. How? Because it covers it, covered over it. It covers it's just put a veil on it. So what is it? The verse? Recite it. What is that verse? Dhyayato. Recite. Who will recite? Recite. We want to recite. Dhyayato.
ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसा संगस्तेषु उपजायते.
Yes. Then anybody wants to recite that verse? Anyone of you know it? Okay, program of the recite. Dhyayato visayan punsa. Recite.
संगस्तेषु उपजायते. संगत संजयते कामत् क्रोधो विजायते. क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहात् स्मृतिविभ्रमा.
So from anger, actually, what is it? Anger actually bewilders us. And out of bewilderment, actually, what happens? It actually covers our memory. We lose our memory. Memory of what? Memory of the scriptural codes and content. Scriptural codes. What we should follow and what we should not follow. These are the scriptural codes. They are in the scriptures. Actually, we lose our memory. So lust is the cause of this. Unfulfilled lust turns into anger. And anger actually bewilder our mind. And after being bewildered, we lose our memory. And after losing our memory, what happens? Smriti Bhansat Buddhi Naso. And it again covers our intelligence, destroy our intelligence. And once the intelligence is destroyed, everything is destroyed. Is Buddhi intelligent? If intelligent is hijacked, then everything is hijacked. That's it. So Gyan and Vijnana both are destroyed by what? This lust. So learn Krishna consciousness from Bhagavad Gita. What is it? The knowledge of the self and the super self is very confidential and has to be understood as explained by the Lord himself. It is very confidential. And what is Krishna consciousness based in Bhagavad Gita? Living entity, part and parcel of the Lord and simply meant to serve the Lord. We are the just menial servant of Krishna. And our only duty is to serve Krishna and remember Krishna. What is Krishna consciousness? Conscious of Krishna. Conscious about Krishna. Always conscious about Krishna. Translate it. If you translate this word or make it very simple, always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. This is Krishna consciousness. We become always conscious about Krishna. We'll never forget Krishna. Always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. This is Krishna consciousness. Being a part of person of Krishna, you have to serve Krishna 24 hours a day. 24 hours into 7. Then we become Krishna conscious. How? By engaging our senses, mind and intelligence in the devotional service. The engagement is the most. Then only. The iron file, when it comes in contact with the magnet, it becomes magnet. So our senses, mind and intelligence, when it comes in contact, when they come in contact with the material things, it becomes material. That's why it hankers after the material enjoyment. But once you have to give the higher test to it, the test we get in chanting holy name, and associating the devotees, taking prasadam, and ecstatic kirtan, these are the higher test for the mind. Once it gets the higher test, it hankers after it. This is the soul, this is the nature of the soul. And the more you give it, the more you associate with such kind of activities, then it becomes spiritual. This is the process. That's a more and more you have to engage ourselves in such kind of activities. But very careful. What we are speaking, what you are looking at, what you are hearing, with whom we are talking and mingling, very important. Because you have to bear the fruit of it. If you indiscriminately mingle, indiscriminately eat, indiscriminately hear, very harmful effect in our consciousness. And lust is only the perfect reflection of the love of God, and which is natural for every living entity. Krishna conscious education from the very beginning prevents that natural love from deteriorating into lust. This is a process of making our lust, turning our lust or transforming our lust into love. When this, our actually love is there in our heart, when you are in Bhagavad Dham, eternal abode, that love is misused in our own self. Love is misused for our own sense gratification, then it turns into lust. Now again, that lust will transform into love when we engage it in devotional service, and it becomes love of God. When love of God deteriorates into lust, it is very difficult to return to the normal condition. Power of Krishna, even a late beginner benefits and can become a lover of God by following the regulated principle devotional service. 16 rounds and following the 4 regulatory principles and associating the devotee and hearing Bhagavatam. There's a 4 principle, powerful principle Prabhupada used to say to follow. One is Archa Vigra Seva, taking prasadam, reading Bhagavatam, and chanting holy name. These are the 4 principles, or the 4 activities, most important principal activities among all 64 activities. Principal activities. So these are the activities by following which we can transform this last into. It's already time. So next time we'll finish this chapter and we'll go forward to the fourth one. Okay. If you have any questions, you can stop. Oh, Sasan Prabhu, I welcome you since long time. The meeting today. Sasan Prabhu ji, are you
थैंक यू
here?
प्रभु। हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी, धन्यवाद प्रणाम।
धन्यवाद। If you get time, come regularly and make us fortunate to have your association. We are hankering for your association, begging for your
यस,
association. If you get time,
नो
please
प्रभु,
have
आई एम
mercy on
बेगिंग फॉर योर
us.
एसोसिएशन।
Please have mercy on us so that we can get
प्रभु
your
आई एम ट्राइंग।
association. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।